Hello everyone. Welcome to Synapse, your ultimate learning destination. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of cell, the unit of life, focusing specifically on the mitochondria. Often called the powerhouses of our cells, these tiny organelles play an absolutely vital role in keeping us alive and energized. We'll embark on a four-level journey, starting with the basics, moving through medium and hard concepts, and finally tackling the toughest competitive insights. Get ready to unlock the secrets of cellular energy. Let's kick things off with the easy level. We'll understand what mitochondria are, their basic structure, and their most important job. So, what exactly are mitochondria? Imagine tiny energy factories inside almost every cell in your body. They're oval-shaped organelles, and their main job is to create the energy your cells need to function. That's why they've earned the nickname powerhouses of the cell. Each mitochondrion has two membranes, an outer one that's smooth, and an inner one that's folded into structures called cristae. These folds are super important because they increase the surface area for the energy-making reactions to happen efficiently. This unique structure is key to their function. Now, let's talk about their main function, energy production. Mitochondria are responsible for generating adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. Think of ATP as the cell's universal energy currency. They do this through a process called cellular respiration, where they take in glucose and oxygen and convert them into ATP, along with carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. Every activity your cells perform, from muscle contraction to sending nerve signals, requires ATP. For example, your leg muscles, especially when you're sprinting, need a huge amount of ATP, which is why they're packed with thousands of mitochondria. They truly power everything you do. Time for some quick checks. Try to answer these easy questions. First, which organelle is famously known as the powerhouse of the cell? Second, what is the primary and most crucial function of mitochondria? And third, what are those special, finger-like folds on the inner mitochondrial membrane called? Think about what we just discussed. Your understanding of these basics is a great start. Alright, let's level up. In the medium section, we'll explore the detailed structure of mitochondria, dive deeper into their energy-making processes, and uncover some of their unique characteristics. Mitochondria are truly fascinating in their architecture. They are typically quite small, about 0.5 to 1.0 micrometers in diameter. They're defined by two distinct membranes, the outer membrane, which is smooth and permeable to smaller molecules thanks to special proteins called porins, and the inner membrane. This inner membrane is highly folded into structures called cristae, significantly increasing the surface area available for reactions. Between these two membranes lies the intermembrane space. Inside the inner membrane is the mitochondrial matrix, a jelly-like substance containing enzymes, their own DNA, ribosomes, and phosphate granules. This intricate design is crucial for their function. Now, let's delve into how they generate energy. Mitochondria are the main sites for aerobic cellular respiration. This complex process involves several key stages. The Krebs cycle, also known as the citric acid cycle, takes place in the mitochondrial matrix. Here, molecules are broken down, producing a small amount of ATP, along with electron carriers like NAD and FADH2. These carriers then move to the electron transport chain, or etc., which is located on the inner mitochondrial membrane. It's here that the bulk of ATP is generated through a process called oxidative phosphorylation, using the electrons from NAD and FADH2. Mitochondria also have some truly unique characteristics that set them apart. They are considered semi-autonomous organelles because they possess their own circular DNA, similar to bacteria, and their own ribosomes, which are 70S type. This means they can synthesize some of their own proteins and even divide by fission, independently of the cell's main division cycle. Another fascinating aspect is maternal inheritance. Mitochondria are passed down exclusively from the mother to all her offspring. Lastly, mitochondria play a critical role in programmed cell death, or apoptosis, by releasing specific factors that signal a cell to self-destruct when necessary. Let's test your understanding of the medium-level content. First, describe the structural differences between the inner and outer mitochondrial membranes. Second, identify where the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain specifically occur within the mitochondrion. Third, explain why mitochondria are referred to as semi-autonomous organelles. Fourth, what is the functional importance of the cristae? And finally, how are mitochondria inherited in humans? Take a moment to formulate your answers. Ready for a challenge? The hard level will take us into the deeper mechanisms of ATP synthesis, advanced stages of respiration, and the evolutionary history of mitochondria. The core of ATP production in mitochondria is explained by the chemiosmotic hypothesis proposed by Peter Mitchell. As electrons move along the electron transport chain, which is embedded in the inner mitochondrial membrane, protons are actively pumped from the mitochondrial matrix into the intermembrane space. This creates a powerful proton gradient, essentially a difference in both pH and electrical charge across the membrane. This stored potential energy, known as the proton motive force, is then harnessed by a molecular motor called ATP synthase. As protons flow back into the matrix through ATP synthase, it drives the synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. This elegant mechanism is responsible for generating most of the cell's energy. Let's break down the stages of aerobic respiration specifically within the mitochondria. First, pyruvate, which comes from glycolysis in the cytoplasm, is transported into the mitochondrial matrix. Here, it's converted into acetyl-CoA, releasing carbon dioxide and producing NAD. Next, acetyl-CoA enters the Krebs cycle, also in the matrix, undergoing a series of reactions that yield ATP, NAD, FADH2, and more CO2. Each turn of the cycle is a powerhouse of electron carrier production. Finally, NAD and FADH2 deliver their electrons to the electron transport chain on the inner membrane, driving proton pumping. Oxygen is the crucial final electron acceptor, forming water. This entire sequence is known as oxidative phosphorylation, the ultimate ATP generator. Beyond energy production, mitochondria are incredibly dynamic. They constantly undergo fusion, where two mitochondria merge, and fission, where one divides into two. Fusion helps in mixing contents and repairing damage, while fission is vital for distributing mitochondria, removing damaged ones, and during cell division. The formation of new mitochondria, called mitochondrial biogenesis, is a highly regulated process involving both nuclear and mitochondrial DNA, adapting to the cell's energy needs. Furthermore, the unique features of mitochondria, their double membrane, circular DNA, and 70S ribosomes provide strong evidence for the endosymbiotic theory. This theory posits that mitochondria originated from ancient free-living bacteria that were engulfed by early eukaryotic cells, forming a mutually beneficial partnership. Now, let's tackle these hard-level questions. First, explain the chemiosmotic hypothesis for ATP synthesis in mitochondria. Second, detail the role of the proton gradient in oxidative phosphorylation. Third, list the main products generated by the Krebs cycle in the mitochondrial matrix. Fourth, how do fusion and fission events contribute to mitochondrial health and function? Fifth, provide evidence from mitochondrial structure and genetics that supports the endosymbiotic theory. Sixth, what is the final electron acceptor in the electron transport chain and what is formed? And seventh, describe the fate of pyruvate upon entering the mitochondrial matrix. These questions require a deeper understanding. All right, NEET aspirants, prepare yourselves. This is the hardest level, where we'll explore the intricate details of mitochondrial engineering, competitive depth, and cutting-edge insights. Get ready to master the powerhouse. Let's dive into the detailed engineering of oxidative phosphorylation. It involves 5 sophisticated protein complexes, complexes I through V, all embedded within the inner mitochondrial membrane. Complexes I, 3, and 4 act as proton pumps, using the energy from electron flow to move hydrogen ions from the matrix into the intermembrane space. Complex 2 contributes by taking electrons directly from FADH2. Mobile carriers like coenzyme Q and cytochrome C shuttle these electrons between complexes. The resulting proton motive force, a combination of pH and electrical potential, is the driving power. This force then propels ATP synthase, or complex V, which functions like a molecular rotary motor. Its F0 component is a proton channel, and its F1 component, a catalytic knob, rotates to synthesize ATP as protons flow back into the matrix. This precise machinery is a marvel of biological engineering. Mitochondrial genetics is another fascinating area. Human mitochondrial DNA, or metric-ton DNA, is a small, circular, double-stranded molecule. It's distinct from nuclear DNA and encodes only 13 proteins, all crucial components of the electron transport chain, along with ribosomal and transfer RNAs essential for its own protein synthesis. Mutations in this metric-ton DNA can lead to a spectrum of severe mitochondrial diseases, often impacting tissues with high energy demands like muscles, the brain, and the heart. Conditions such as Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, MELAS, and MERV syndromes are prime examples. A key characteristic is their exclusive maternal inheritance, meaning these diseases are passed only from the mother to all her children, as sperm contribute virtually no mitochondria to the zygote. This unique inheritance pattern is critical for diagnosis and genetic counseling. Mitochondrial activity is under extremely tight regulation. At the most basic level, the availability of substrates like pyruvate and fatty acids, along with allosteric regulation of key enzymes in the Krebs cycle, controls its pace. The electron transport chain's activity is primarily governed by the cell's energy state, specifically the availability of ADP, a concept known as respiratory control, and, of course, oxygen. Beyond this, hormones like thyroid hormones and insulin, and powerful signaling pathways such as AMPK and PGC1-alpha play profound roles. These signals modulate mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning the formation of new mitochondria, and fine-tune existing mitochondrial function, allowing cells to precisely adapt to changing metabolic demands and various stress conditions. This multi-layered control ensures energy homeostasis is always maintained. Maintaining a healthy population of mitochondria is vital, and cells achieve this through sophisticated quality control mechanisms. Damaged or dysfunctional mitochondria are selectively removed through a specialized form of autophagy called mitophagy. This process is initiated by proteins like PINK1 and Parkin, which tag the outer mitochondrial membrane proteins with ubiquitin, signaling them for destruction. These tagged mitochondria are then engulfed by autophagosms and delivered to lysosomes for degradation. Impaired mitophagy is a significant factor in aging and the progression of neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's. Furthermore, mitochondria are not isolated. They form dynamic membrane contact sites with other organelles like the air, peroxisomes, and lysosomes. These contacts facilitate crucial processes like lipid synthesis, calcium signaling, and overall metabolic coordination, firmly establishing mitochondria as a central metabolic hub that integrates carbohydrate, lipid, and amino acid metabolism, crucial for maintaining cellular homeostasis. Let's test your advanced knowledge with the first 5 hardest questions. First, elaborate on the roles of complexes I, 3, 4, and V in the electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation. Second, describe the structure and genetic content of human mitochondrial DNA and its implications for inherited diseases. Third, provide examples of 3 mitochondrial diseases, outlining their general characteristics and mode of inheritance. Fourth, explain the concept of respiratory control and how it regulates the electron transport chain. And fifth, discuss the significance of mitophagy in maintaining cellular health and its connection to disease. These demand thorough, detailed answers. Continuing with the hardest level, here are questions 6 through 10. Sixth, how do mitochondrial fusion and fission contribute to the overall dynamics and function of the mitochondrial network? Seventh, detail the specific roles of coenzyme Q and cytochrome C in the electron transport chain. Eighth, what is the proton motive force and how is it generated and utilized in mitochondria? Ninth, explain how hormones and signaling pathways influence mitochondrial biogenesis and activity. And finally, 10th, describe the interconnections between mitochondria and other organelles, highlighting their role as a metabolic hub. Take your time to formulate comprehensive responses, showcasing your deep understanding. And that brings us to the end of our in-depth exploration of mitochondria. From the basic powerhouse concept to the intricate mechanisms of oxidative phosphorylation and their role in cellular health and disease, we've covered a vast amount of ground. We hope this journey has empowered you with a deeper understanding of this vital organelle. For more such comprehensive educational content and to continue mastering your NEET preparation, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more engaging lessons. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing towards your goals.